So hi everyone, I hope that you all are doing well. Just want to come forth and bring another DIY Bodyworks video for you. And so I'm going to invite you to join along with me for this particular session. It's going to be more of a freestyle, but we will have some core focuses in terms of just protocol for your overall general well-being. So I'm going to allow myself to be divinely guided in terms of where we go, but I do know that that's going to be a primary focus, especially with the season shifting and everything. A lot of people are suffering with allergies, and just a whole lot of different things can go on with the body during that time. So we're going to get started with just working on our general well-being. So as always, I like to get started with getting hydrated, and I have been spending time getting hydrated, but I'm actually going to drink some more water because, as always, those of you who've worked along with me know that hydration is very key, and before getting started, and certainly drinking a lot after. So I'm going to give you a few moments to make sure that you have your hydration, and also too some oil or lotion that you're going to use to moisturize yourself as we get started today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with drinking. Again, feel free to grab those, the water for you and the lotion or oil. Okay. So because I've been drinking already, I'm not going to do too much, but definitely it'll get you a swig. Right. Okay, so I want to start actually with doing some breath work, and those of you who've been working along with me in previous videos know that that's one of my more extensive, types of works, is really connecting with the breath. So it's part of the energy work, and that's very important as you are doing the DIY body work. So we're going to start off by taking about 5 deep breaths, please. Okay, all right. And I'm going to invite you to set a powerful intention for yourself around your overall well-being. So that can be that you are just setting an intention to feel more vibrant, to feel healthier, to feel like you have more stamina, be more energetic. Just whatever you feel is required for you during this time, or even achieve desire, then I'm inviting you to actually be present with that during this time. And also, we're going to be present with the body. So, taking a few moments just to be intentional in that way is connecting to your body so that your body can show you and communicate to you how to best support it during this time. So, some of you are going to be guided to follow along with what I'm doing, and then some you're going to be guided just to take this time just to work on yourself in whatever ways that you feel guided. Again, check in with your body. So let's take just a few moments. We'll take about maybe 3 more deep breaths and just be present and see if there's something that comes up for you in terms of where you need to focus. Okay. So for me, I'm going to be focusing on the sinus areas mainly, and the liver area, and then also around the heart area, and just some respiratory. So that's where my guidance just initially is just mentioning to me. As this progresses, things can shift and change, but I am going to start off with just doing kind of some general protocol, which will kind of cover everything that's major in a sense. And I'm going to do that basically with the Reflexology Rub. But before getting started, of course, going to start getting moisturized. So I have a couple of moisturizations here. I have my hydration lotion, and I have my ginger oil, but also I have some baby creamy oil and with aloe and vitamin E. And that's actually what I'm feeling guided to do the moisturization with, at least for now. So I'm just going to put a little just on both, and again, I can come back during the session here and add more if need be. Actually, let's put a little too on the arms as well, because may do some self-massaging, never know. And who knows, some hand reflexology may come in. You just never know what's going to happen, but just being present there. Okay, so for those of you who set the intention and also know exactly where you're going to start working, then go ahead and start doing your thing here. I'm going to open this session up of starting the touch with doing the hip flexor, and most of you are familiar with that, but in case some of you aren't, so I'm going to demonstrate this. So you take the blades of your hand and put them under your ankle bone, and then you just start to rub there, and just let your foot dangle, so you don't have to have it in any form or so. And normally a good 30 seconds is good for this, but you do it as you feel guided, okay? All right. Okay, so now I'm going to do kind of a spinal twist, this foot twist here. It's kind of loosening up the spine too here as we start to work. And speaking of the spine, I'm actually going to do some worm walking up the spine. I'm going to demonstrate it and just go up slowly, and then you can follow along with me if you choose to. So just to demonstrate for those who are not familiar with this, we are going to worm walk the spine. So just watch me for the moment. And there's several ways that you can do this, but I like to use just both thumbs and kind of just almost like rub up it a little bit and then come back down. I always recommend that you do this at least 3 times, and for those who are empathic like myself, 5 times is good, but we'll just do it for the 3 at this moment. So we're going to start and go back. So now you can work along with me. So hopefully you can see this here. So some of you might just do like that, but I like doing the thumbs and just moving up. Just working on that nervous system and getting that central nervous system in alignment so that it can bring forth the communications that we need to send those signals to the rest of the body. Okay, so we consider that one time up, one time down, and now we're going to go up again. And some of you actually might be interested in doing this on your hand, and I'm going to demonstrate that as well. Okay, and now let's go back down. All right, that would be considered 2. So we're going to go back up again and back down again, right? See if I can get it at a different angle here. Okay, so that's 3 times. So for those of you who would like to learn how to do this on your hand, the hands and the feet work very much the same as it relates to the reflexology points and some of the acupressure points as well. So we're going to start here with for the spine, right at the base here, and then kind of just thumb, walk all the way up the side here. So anytime you find that you can't really work on your feet, then work on your hands will do. I'm a little biased at times. I feel the feet reflexology tends to work the best, but they are really equally as great and beneficial, honestly. All right, so I'll just do that again. Go up, come back down. Again. Okay, all right. So since we've been working the spine and the nervous system, we are going to come and work really more the central nervous system as well. Since we've gotten this part, stimulated here and it's opened up, we're going to work on the brain a bit. So the brain is found right here on really the pad here, which is also the sinus pad as well. But right up under here is the brain. And so we want to make just some circular motions here. Get some stimulation going. And also right up underneath is the pineal gland, also known as the third eye. But you also can do some reflexology with it on the side as well. And then up underneath is the pituitary gland. So that really kind of controls or master hub of your hormonal system. But let's just work on the brain during this time here. And even as I'm working on this, I can feel even my sinuses already starting to, do some shifting. And again, that's going to be a primary focus for me during this session. So I'm going to be, working there. So I do want to work in the pituitary area. Some of you may get a little bit of soreness here. I actually have a video on that, what to do when you have soreness there. But if you do have soreness, I'm going to invite you to press it and hold for about 3 seconds and take 3 deep breaths. And then if it's too painful, kind of work around it, all right? So I'm just going to work in this area a little bit. Now, it's going to work this toe here, okay? And you can work all over the toe. Just get the stimulation going here because this is actually working your entire face. And then the neck reflex is right here. So you're working everything. On the side is the nose, you're working the mouth, you then start working, like I said, the neck. And all of this, is connected, your whole head and then connecting to your neck. But we want to work this because if you can get your neck to ease up, even if it's not tense, it just helps to start relaxing the body in general, just in multiple ways. But also, this is really good for relieving stress. So yeah. So sometimes if you just take as your hand and kind of just you know, rub the entire toe. Put a little pressure on it, you know, as well, okay? Right. Again, it's just getting the stimulation going. All right. So I mentioned about doing kind of a general protocol for overall well-being. So normally, like in reflexology, the foot is broken up into 5 zones. So this would be considered, you know, zone 1, and then zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, and then zone 5 here, and even on the side. So what we're going to do is really just do an overall rub of the foot. And this is a reflexology rub. And so we'll be rubbing different areas. So right in here are the lungs, okay? And this is the eyes, and these are the sinus pads on the toes. From right in here to in here is like the your thyroid and into your thymus gland. Then we have the adrenal gland and the kidney area. All of this under here is the diaphragm. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to do kind of just a rub. So we're going to rub across the zones. And underneath here is where your track is. And so we're going to just do just some rubbing there, and we'll come back and work on a few areas. So I'm actually going to get a little bit more lotion here, and I think I'm actually going to leave the lotion over on this side here. All right. So, and I'm sure I'm going to have to come back and and put some more on, but I just want to do this just, you know, just for the rubbing. So let's rub over zone 1. All right. So just going here, just rubbing over zone 1. Okay, now zone 2, we're going to do some rubbing here. Then we'll come to zone 3. Right there. And we're just doing it quick, like, because we're just kind of doing just like an overall protocol just to get some stimulation. And we come into zone 4 here. All right, and rub all the way down to there. All right, so now we're coming to zone 5. And we want to get on the side here too, where sometimes some juicy stuff gets stuck up in there. Anyone who is a reflexologist or is very familiar with that knows what can get trapped in these sides here. So we just want to be able to work, to work this out here. All right, so let's rub over the foot again. Again, kind of just going through this quickly because we're going to get into actually working on specific areas. But yeah, just wanted to give everything a rub so nothing gets left out, because we're not going to cover and focus on every reflexology point on the foot, but if we give it a good rub, then of course everything has gotten some attention. So let's do this as well. I'm going to do the hand as well, so just do a good, and most of the time this is what I mainly focus on when it comes to hand reflexology, is really doing a reflexology rub versus spending so much time on certain areas like I do when I focus, you know, on the feet, especially when people are just getting started. I say, you know, if you can just stimulate the well-beingness by touching in this way, you're doing wonders. And sometimes it's good not to get so technical in terms of this is this, this is that. If you give yourself a good hand massage, you are already touching major organs. And so like with the feet though, the sinus pads are, you know, are on the hands, and the eyes are right in here. But you're touching over so many different major organs, you know, as it relates to here. Okay, so I just wanted to do that. All right, so what I am going to do, and I'm actually going to apply some more lotion here. So I am going to start working on my sinuses. So as I mentioned that you can find the sinuses on the tips of your toes, the little toe pads. But also in here is great to work on your sinuses. And a lot of times when I'm working on the sinuses, I try to work as much as of the respiratory system as possible. So I know that I'll get into doing a little lung, reflexology, as well. So we worked the big toe, and so we did work really on the sinuses there as well. But now I'm going to just start to work the tips of the toes and to walk down, right? But you know what? I'm actually feeling guided to dig in first. So I'm going to do the piano hands, and so let me demonstrate this first. For those of you who are not familiar with this, you just dig in between the toes, and you want to dig deep too, not to the point of pain or anything, but some of you actually could possibly feel some pain depending on if you have things really going on in your sinuses or just stress in the body. But this is actually going to help to relieve the stress out of the body. One of the things I really love about doing the overall protocol for general well-being is it covers so much and stimulates so much. And I find that it takes so much stress and pressure off the body in multiple ways. So I find that it's really helpful to kind of do that even before you actually start getting into doing an actual reflexology type of DIY session, on yourself. So here, just digging in here with the sinuses. And I'm going to work in the eyes, because there are often times when, I don't have this happen often, but there are times where when your sinuses are sort of out of whack, your eyes can be out of whack as well. Sometimes it's hard to focus, or sometimes there's the puffy eyes, the itchy eyes. So it's good to work in this area here. So you can see that. Okay. All right, so since we've already worked this toe, I'm not going to work on that right now. So I'm going to start just sort of worm walking down. Or actually, I'll use this support with this hand and walk down. And walk to about the middle, and then just start making circles. So let me do that again. Start at the top and work all the way down. Okay. All right. And then you want to do this with each of the toes. And sometimes you'll feel more guided to do it on others longer than the other one. So, okay. All right. And now, let's take this one here. Now I'm doing kind of a quick demonstration. If I were spending, a certain amount of time where I had at least an hour or so, I would, be working on myself longer. But I definitely needed to come and work on myself and wanted to be able to invite you all in with this, especially because I haven't put out one of these videos in quite some time. But I hope that the others within my playlist have been extremely helpful. Okay. Also with the piano hands, you can go even dig in from the front side, or even do both at a time. It really just depends on how intense your sinus issues are. But even if you don't have things going on with your sinuses, this is so great because it just helps to support your sinus health in general. And we don't need to just try to support ourselves when we're feeling kind of out of whack. There are things that you can do to get out ahead, and doing the DIY body work really helps with that. And so a lot of times what you come to do when you are doing this regularly, it's more of kind of a maintenance, a sustainability versus having to do it, because you're kind of in a crisis mode at that point, and just immunity is down. This keeps the immune system, you know, really up and running. If not at optimum levels, definitely close to that. All right, so I've worked the sinus pads. All right, so I'm going to work the lungs. So right in here is the lung area. But as I'm working on the lungs, I'm going to come over in here because the heart is there as well. But I'm just going to gently rub kind of the heart area. But I want to dig in to the lungs. I want to dig in there, support the respiratory, and then right in here where the thymus and the thyroid gland is, I want to dig in. I want to dig in there. So I'm actually going to come right in this indention because this here helps to support the immune system tremendously. So in other videos, you've heard me say that if you want to really work on the respiratory system at a higher level, right in here, where you start pressing up against that bone, in a sense, that's where you want to spend time there for sure. Oh, okay. Just I can feel like relief in the body, energetically and actually just, you know, in general. So I'm just kind of working, you know, in this area. And for those of you who are following along, definitely put down in the comments how this is serving you, or if you're freestyling and, you know, doing something different during this time, let us know exactly what you're doing, what you're working on. It'd be so helpful, you know, for others as well. All right, so worked a little bit just to pulsate the heart area a little bit. Worked the thymus and thyroid area. We've dug into the lungs, all right? So now what we're going to do, I'm going to get some more lotion here. Probably should use oil today, but I wasn't feeling guided to do that. I'm good if I have to keep putting lotion on. I'm all right with that. As long as it's not bothering you all, but yeah, some do that here. Okay, so the guidance now is actually for me to work on the liver and the gallbladder. And I actually, within the last 2 months, have had a little something going on in those areas. I've actually been on a really good formula, for that. It's an extract, just helps with the functionality and stimulation. So that's been tremendously supportive for me. But I'm going to just come in here. So liver is found on the right side. What you'll know about reflexology is that most of the organs are going to be found on the same side of the body, on the foot, on the same side of the body that the organs are on. So right in here, if you work this area, it's right in here, you are working the liver and right up the gallbladder as well. So what I want to do is I actually want to do a little digging here. You all don't have to do that deep. You can just do some rubbing. But I feel the need to get more stimulation into mine. So that's why I'm just kind of doing the dot to dot type of form here. I'm working on that. So let me get down in here just a little bit more. Work that area. All right. I'm actually feeling guided to be on, God, this lotion here, on the side too. Let's get the stimulation going here. All right. Okay. So let me work the adrenal. So from right underneath the ball of the foot and going into here, which is kind of the kidney adrenal. The kidney is down just a little bit. But I'm just going to rub over this entire area here. So some of you sometimes may feel a little bit of fatigue. And I know there are a couple of myths out there, a couple of debunking that people don't actually get adrenal fatigue. But since it's kind of common in terms of that languaging, I'll just use it because sometimes when you have an overworked adrenals, you definitely can feel very fatigued. A lot of times we have sinus issues going on, the fatigueness, sets in as well. So let's do down here some little kidney hooks here. Sometimes you all may feel a few little tender spots too, and I would say go ahead and still work that area as long as the pain is not on a scale from 1 to 10, as long as it's not at 8 and above. You're still okay to work it, because sometimes when you're working areas that have a little bit of tenderness, it's because the energy is stagnant there and it needs to move. And when you don't actually move the energy and it keeps building up, then you're actually going to have more pain. But if you can start to move it, a lot of times people start to feel relief. So, okay, I'm going to just work here. I'm just going to do a reflexology rub just over this. So, really rubbing the adrenals, the kidneys, kind of under the diaphragm, solar plexus area, but also coming back over here to the liver and the gallbladder. So just doing a rub there. So now I want to start working in the tract. It's important to really work in your tract, because in the intestinal tract is where primarily most of your immune system resides there. And most colds, diseases, sickness, all those things normally start in the tract. So I want to do some rubbing here. I'm going to do some dot to dot here because I really want to work down in here. Also, if you're ever constipated or so, you need your bowels to move, this is the best place to really work, right in here. Anywhere from underneath here to right in here. And even if some of you, I'll just share this, have back pain, sciatic nerve pain or so, work in here, okay? All right. So again, you all just rub in there. I am going to dot because I'm actually trying to get out ahead. I'm not constipated or anything, but I am trying to get out ahead and get that overall well-being up to par, the immune system up to par. Okay. All right, so I'm going to come over to the left foot, work there fairly quickly. So I am going to actually open up the hips here. So I'll do the same kind of opening protocol here. Okay. All right. So the guidance is actually to rub, and you know what? I am going to break out the oil for this foot here. So working with my ginger oil, it's essential. My hands are, see, so let me get something here. Oh, it always smells so good. So I'm just going to use a little bit of oil. I probably will still continue to use the lotion. I may break off into using my hydration lotion. Okay, yeah, there we go. So getting that foot oiled down, right? Okay, so just being present here with the guidance. So just giving the foot an overall rub is what's coming to me. It's interesting because I'm not being guided to actually work up the spine here, but just really to rub over it. So kind of doing another zone rub. So just rubbing the spine. So it's a spine rub, versus the worm walking. And you all go as fast or slow, you know, as you desire, as you feel guided, I should say. Okay. All right. So I'm just doing some light strokes. You can put a little bit of pressure, which I will put a little bit of pressure as I'm just going kind of just over each zone here and touching several, you know, of the organs. Getting here, even working on the reproductive organs right in here, working the bladder too. Probably better not work that too hard considering I've been drinking a lot of water and yeah, but still working on the urinary tract. So yeah, so just just do some rubbing if you have hormonal issues, or you just want your hormones. What am I squeaking up against? Oh, it must be my water bottle. It's like, here's some squeaking noise over here. All right, so okay, so just working that. But I was just saying, you want to keep your hormones balanced, or going through, menopause. Then definitely, anyone having men having prostrate, you definitely want to work in this area. You can do some presses here and take some deep breaths, maybe 3 or so. Get that functioning, get some stimulation going. But yeah, right in here, if you just do occasional rubs in here, that will help your reproductive organs, tremendously. Okay, so, all right, so I am going to actually work the sinuses on this side here. Just feeling more like the digging in. Not so much of really working the toes. I do feel I am going to work them, but it seems like it's going to be in a different way. More stimulation going. I think I did quite a bit in terms of on the right foot, that there's some carryover. It's interesting that when I work on individuals, especially like even family, they can feel when I'm working on one side how the energy is flowing, to the other side. It's pretty fascinating how it happens. Yeah. So this is what my guidance is. It's just to provide the stimulation here. Let me just rub over the toes, the sinus pads. So it's just, instead of walking down them, it's just rubbing. It's rubbing over there. Okay. You can see my activity here. So this is how I'm going to work the toes. Mainly kind of in a 360. Help to relieve some sinus pressure for sure. I don't have any going on as of now, but actually a few days ago I actually had a sinus headache, which is something, and it was very faint. It was quick. I normally don't really get those, and so that was really interesting. But the weather that day was stormy, so that explains a lot. But yeah, so again, this here will, just work in the sinuses in that way. So, yeah. Okay. All right, so I'm being present with what else to do here. I believe I'm just going to work in the adrenal areas. I could work the stomach, but that's not really where my guidance, not really guided to do that. So just doing a reflexology kind of rub and stroke here in the adrenal and kidney area here. Right. And it never hurts to work on that thymus and thyroid here. So, oh, I can feel some kind of some stimulation here, nervy in a sense. It's not pain or anything, but it's kind of a twitch. So, because all of these are being connected and everything. So let's work this area. I will work on the lungs, but I feel not to really dig in dot to dot. I just feel the need to just, yeah, just do some rubbing over this area. Keep bumping up against my water and lotion bottles over there, making some noise there. So. You see that? Yeah, I'm just working the lungs, just working that respiratory system. Okay. Like anything, it's always great to work in the track. So, gonna work down in here. Some great colon function here. So. Okay. All right. So I'm actually going to do a little bit of acupressure. I normally don't try to get so deep within that because sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to show some of the points at this angle. But I'm going to do liver 3 and find that right down between the big toe and the second toe, right here in the valley. Stop right about there and just put some pressure. And I'm so grateful that it's not tender here. And it could be very well because I've worked the liver on the opposite side, you know. And but this is the liver worker requirement on this side here. Okay. I cannot tell you how this is making me feel during this moment. And I'm not just talking about this exactly what I'm doing, just the overall process. Yeah, it's great. Okay, let me know how you all are feeling down in the comments. So kind of going to start to wrap this protocol up, and I'm just doing some rubbing here in my valleys. The valleys, you know, the front of the foot here. Sometimes you'll feel some tenderness happen, and that's really normal. And if you do actually have some pain, I would still just rub it, but you don't have to put pressure, but just rub, okay? Now my right foot's getting a little jealous. So actually let me come over here, do a little bit of, I'll do some liver 3 here. Okay. So. Again, being able to do this just helps to relax the body in so many ways, helps to relieve stress and tension, and even anxiety when people are having kind of anxiety attacks, so to speak, or episodes, depression, stress. Soothe yourself by doing the DIY body work. Just be amazed at how it helps with emotions, and I do have videos, you know, even around that. So if y'all haven't checked out any of my playlists, please do. There'll be a link to at least one of those in the description. All right. So since it didn't do anything on the left hand, I'm going to just kind of close down everything with actually just doing just a general rub. And also, if you aren't familiar with the hand reflexology, I have videos with charts, and you can explore those. They're fairly short. And again, it's just best to know the hand reflexology as well, because sometimes you're not going to be where you can actually work on your feet. And this is just good, like if you're at work or out or so, and you just need to do a stress reliever or so. If you ever have pain anywhere in the body, if you press in here, but you do have to put some pressure, not to the point of agony, but put pressure, and this will relieve pain pretty much in any area of the body. Sometimes, you know, rub within that space. So yeah. Right. Okay. All right. Well, I am feeling tons better. And definitely looking forward to coming back and being able to provide some more, you know, of these videos, and actually do a wellness camp where we'll go over different areas and be, you know, specific for ones, and break them up so you can have time to work on these different areas of the body, and then have kind of a cohesive experience. So yeah, okay, so this has been your DIY Bodyworks session. Again, please put down in the comments if you were freestyling, working along, just anything that can help to support, you know, everyone on this experience, because we are in this journey together. And also be sure, if you have not secured a copy of my publication, I Touch Myself and I Like It. It's a DIY self-massage, acupressure, reflexology, and Wealth-flex-ology journal recorder. Be sure to secure a copy. I actually have a second version of this out now, and I'll have a link to that also within the description. All right, so I will be back with more DIY Bodyworks videos soon. Take care until then.